What's up everybody, Fritz here. Today we have to talk about a sad topic. Curb rash. So let's get into the video. Yup, unfortunately I scratched my new rims. Weirdly enough, it was on the rear rim, so I was obviously not paying attention to how close I was to the curb. Good thing is that we can save ourselves some money and get this done in the garage rather than taking it to a shop. So all that we really need to get this job done is a few different grades of sandpaper, some body filler, primer, spray paint, and clear coat. Now, because I am trying to match the color of these bronze rims, it is gonna be a little bit more difficult for those of you who have the same kind of wheel. The good thing here is that most stores are pretty lenient when it comes to spray paint. So the way that I figured out which spray paint was best for me was I bought 5 different spray paints, labeled index cards, and then used painter's tape on the top of all of my spray paint cans, sprayed it on the index card, and then compared the index card to my rim to figure out which ones I needed. And then the ones that I don't need, I'm lucky enough that my stores allow me to return them. So if you have a Pep Boys and Aodhan, they are the same stores that I got my paint from, and they're allowing me to return my paint if I didn't really use it. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing that we need to do is to take the wheel off of the car. So we need to break the lugs on the wheel before we jack it up, remove the lugs, and pull off the wheel. When we pull off the wheel, we're gonna wanna clean it down, and we can just use some regular car soap and water to do the initial cleaning. And we wanna do the front and back side. And even though we're not painting the entire wheel here, we wanna clean the entire wheel. That way we don't accidentally get some dirt or grease into our working space. Once the wheel is clean, we're gonna wanna use some rubbing alcohol and clean the entire rim. As soon as you can clean the entire rim and not have any pickup of dirt onto your paper towel, you're good to go. And we're gonna wanna start sanding with our lowest grade sandpaper. So in this pack of sandpaper, I have a range of 80 to 320. We're gonna start at 80 in order to remove the deep scratches and even everything out initially. And then we're gonna work our way up into the grades of sandpaper. So here you can see that we're really starting to even out the curb rash here. And the only things that are uneven are the really deep grooves, but don't worry about that. We're gonna remedy that with the body filler as well as the primer. Now go ahead and mix up the hardener with the body filler. And if you're working with a bigger surface area, you might wanna use a little bit less than the recommended amount of body hardener because this does harden up pretty quickly. So if you have a bigger surface area, you might want a little bit more time to apply the body filler. When you end up actually filling in the body filler, make sure to really push it in there. That way, all the body filler gets into the small scratches, the bigger gashes, everything gets filled up because we are going to sand this down. Then once the body filler has cured, this one in particular takes about 20 minutes, go back over it with your 80 grit sandpaper in order to even it out. Now, as soon as you're done with the 80 grit and it feels smooth just like this, you're gonna wanna go ahead and go over it with the 320 grit sandpaper. This is just to get rid of the bigger scratches from the 80 grit. Now, if you don't get all of the big scratches out, don't worry about it because our primer is actually a filler as well. Now, before we apply our primer, we just wanna clean up the area. We can do that with just some rubbing alcohol. Now, once these big gouges like this have been filled, and when you run your finger over it, it feels nice and smooth, go ahead and prep the wheel because now we're about to get ready to put on the primer. And I should mention that this primer that we're using is actually a filler as well. So if we didn't fill all of the scratches up with the Bondo, or if we took some of it off when we did the sanding, this is gonna fill up all those small imperfections. So make sure to get the right primer. And as soon as you put down a couple of coats of primer, go ahead and put down a few coats of paint. And we wanna use the same technique here where we're painting it from a few different angles. As soon as we're done with that, we're gonna apply our clear coat. And here we wanna do about 3 to 4 coats of clear coat. And I know this might sound like a lot, but because this is going on our wheels, which is a high use item that is gonna be prone to a lot of brake dust, there is gonna be some breakdown here. So having that additional layer of clear coat is gonna help us out in the long run. And then as soon as you're done with that, leave it for about 20 or 30 minutes to allow it to properly dry before taking off all of the prep work and throwing the wheel back onto the car. And just like that, you're all done fixing the curb rash on the wheels of your BMW. I will admit that a matte bronze finish is a little bit tougher to color match, but I think we got it pretty spot on right here. And unless you're up close and personal, you're not gonna notice. Depending on what time of day it is, you're just gonna disregard the difference in color to a light reflection or a shadow. If you have a more common color, like a flat or gloss black or even silver, this is gonna be a whole lot easier for you. And if you have any questions for me, please leave it down in the comment section below. If this video helped you out, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you're looking for anything that I use in this video, it's gonna be down in the description, as well as any RoomTuber merch. And I'll see you guys in the next video.